So, let's see, Venezuela, mixed team. We have some interesting stories here. They're coached by a pair of coaches who have been playing for respectively 22 and 32 years each. Definitely old school ultimate here. In that time, they have attended or coached 9 world championships both. And in that time, they've also both won 2 Spirit of the Game awards. One of them, Mr. Jose Rodriguez, is, or at least claims to be, the foundation of Venezuela Ultimate, a founding member, also a longtime friend of Mauro Ortiz, my personal teammate on both Furious George and the Nighthawks in the Major League Ultimate. So we've started off, Venezuela is on offense, ramming it up the sideline and taking a bold shot into the end zone. That was a nice grab right on the back goal line. They're starting off with audacity. From what I've been led to expect, Venezuela is by and large going to be a fiercely high-tempo, high-paced, gutsy kind of team. They've been, like many South American teams, they play emotionally, audaciously. They'll be taking their shots. And with that comes a certain fearlessness that tends to score more goals than you would think possible. It's very frustrating to play defense on a team that plays as fearlessly as Venezuelan and Colombian teams usually do. Typically, they'll go toe-to-toe for the first half with a lot of teams that you would normally think would be stronger than them. Some players we've been told to watch for this game. 2 deep strikes, number 0, Medina, number 27, Gutierrez, and number 9, Peña. Rumor has it the MVP on this team is number 8, Will. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's spelled W-I-L-L. Canada now starts on offense. They're resting a few players here on Canada this time around. Deep star strike, Kevin Grew, number 80 from Odyssey. They're also reportedly sitting for this game number 33, Nick Wright from Victoria, and number 77, Hugh Knapp. Canada moves up the very same sideline Venezuela did. Now they're moving around to the opposite side. Easy find in space. They're well ahead of the defense now. And they sink it to Nicole. Actually, no, that would be Caitlin Lusty. Hands of an Angel is what my cheat sheet says for her nickname. Once again, I'm only assuming that has something to do with her ability to catch. Another interesting update. Rumor has it, and you can see her taking the line now, Krista Kotwa has apparently somewhat recovered from her meniscus injury yesterday. It's a persistent issue. She hasn't been playing as much as she could, but she appears to be a valuable asset for the Canadian team. She is their tallest girl by a long shot. On the defense line, they're probably hoping that she'll scoop the disc away from her shorter counterparts on the Venezuelan team. Erin Busson is on defense for this point, once again rolling up her shorts in diaperish fashion. I thought I mentioned that to her earlier, but like many players at U23 tournaments, they all ignore me. Venezuela tries to move up the sideline, but there are a lot of poaches on the Canadian defense right now. They're looking sideways. They're reluctant to move it, but they do. Another bold shot, and Venezuela sticks the catch. Another daring goal for Venezuela. Another observation I've had about the South American teams in the past is that they're very good at sticking catches that you might otherwise expect them to miss. It can be extremely frustrating on defense. It's like their offense is predicated on catching bullets and wrapping the disc around the defenders. Again, it creates that impression on defense that you have to defend every square inch of the field against these guys. Usually Venezuelan teams do not shy away from contact. I'm not expecting too many calls in this game. The Canadians and the Venezuelans should have an equitable understanding about exactly how physical they want to be. Venezuela signals readiness for the pull. Let's see what they put down on Canada this time. Hugh Knapp receives it, centers it to Marin. This is another 3-3-1 zone. So far they're doing well at containing the Canadians. Medina's in the center of the wall. He moves over to establish position, and then his fellow female teammates, Brosinski and Bianco, flank him. Canada's being patient with the disc this time. Earlier, they were being very aggressive against the Australians, playing offense by the skin of their yellow country teeth. This time, they're taking their shots a little bit more carefully. They don't want to throw the disc away into an enthusiastic poach. Brian Yu rescues that disc, sends another crazy one over to Hugh Knapp, who likewise returns the favor. But it's an easy scuba for the score to Marin. We have a few more Canadians in the stands today, once again waving the maple leaf flags for, I assume, people's children, sisters, brothers. Yesterday we had a brief taxonomy lesson on the Canadian maple. I thought I would follow that up by reminding everyone that back home in Vancouver, one of the most common varieties of maple is the Japanese maple, Acer palmatum. Now, not uncoincidentally, it happens to bear a very close resemblance to the marijuana or hemp plant. I don't know if the confusion has cost many lives, but it's interesting to note nevertheless. Jose Rodriguez sets up the Venezuelan defense, or offense rather. And on this line, we've been told to expect some of the bigger guns. Number 19 for the women, Valderrama, and number 4, Carrizo. Both of them are supposed to be standout women playing on this team. Whether we'll see them strike, I don't know. It could be a good opportunity to take the Canadians by surprise. And there goes number 4 setting up space, drawing Krista Cotwell out of the mix. Venezuela flies into action and starts moving it around. Nice, number 64 for Canada. Nima Mostagimi from the Toronto Rush gets his hand in there, but there's been a call on the play. It takes surprisingly long to tap this disc into play. But we're off once again. The Venezuelan cutters are quite deep, leaving the handler stranded. He gets off a barbecue backhand into the middle and he wraps it around. The disc is now in the hands of the deep number 27 Gutierrez. He makes a nice push pass reset, gets in the power position, and a crossfield hammer deep. Oh, bobbles it. Turnover, Peter Yu picks it up for Canada and starts moving it. Ashton Pearson from UVic moves it to J-Bell. She bobbles it but recovers. Victoria to Greer Hunt from Newfoundland, and it's a long shot, beautiful huck to Krista, and she toes the back end zone line. Goal stands. It's another point for Canada. They're now up 3-2. Now it so happens that many years ago, 2009, I played against various Venezuelan and Colombian teams while in Medellin, Colombia one fall. And it seemed only polite, and it was expected of us actually, to be counting stalls in Spanish. And there were two problems with that. One, the thinness of the air in Medellin at much higher altitude rendered me nearly hypoxic, and I frequently forgot how to pronounce some of the numbers. Secondly, I was running out of breath. It seemed that we got a remarkable number of turnovers because I could not remember how to pronounce number 9, nuevo, which I invariably pronounced as nueve, which apparently meant new. I tended to stall people down because they were too busy laughing at my inability to count in Spanish. Fun facts brought to you by IamUltimate.com. Canada sets up their defense once more. They're going to be pulling across. They were telling me earlier that their strategy was to try to take advantage of inexperience on the female side in Venezuela. Whenever they were going to be on offense, and we'll keep an eye open for this, they were going to try to play 4 women to try to see if Venezuela could match their skill on the female side of the team. Canada flashes a zone, and it's very cramped quarters in there. In fact, there was a pick call because it was so cramped. You don't often see that in a zone. That's a bold call. Play restarts. Again, it's cramped. Venezuela's trying to babysit the disc, but they're using their push-pass resets to get it out. Nice cross-field blade. Can she read it? Wow. Football catch over the shoulder. Squeezes it in. She resets and takes another. Oh. Tries to toe the line. Probably should have gone for a greatest there, but that was an unfortunate turnover for Venezuela. They're going to try to shut it down here on the sideline and get it back. Canada's running an easy sideline offense, squeezes it in between 4 defenders. That puts Canada up 4-2. My friend, teammate, and arch nemesis, Andy Collins, tweets that I've been using too many adjectives. If someone could familiarize him with the Oxford English Language Dictionary, I think we'll all be so much the better. Collins, if you're listening, aren't you supposed to be in Colombia right now? Don't you have some games to win? So, following up on that, the World Games, as you may know, is going on in Cali, Colombia. And Andy Collins is captain of Team Canada, representing our nation at the World Games. So, when I'm not sarcastically chirping at him, I'd like to wish luck to all of our Canadians right now down there in South America. That was a long sailing pull by number 19, Greer Hunt. Venezuela answers with a gorgeous sailing hook of their own. One shot and they've put themselves on the scoreboard yet again. Narrowing the Canadian lead, it's 4-3. Canadian O-line gets back into position. From what I can make out, we have Josh Marin, Adriana Rowe, looks like Hugh Knapp on the line. And I think that's Caitlin Listy, once again, hands of an angel. Yep. I'm sorry, I've been informed that Nueve is number 9, Nuevo is new. Apparently I have an entire hemisphere willing to correct me on my mistakes. It's going to be one of those days. So Venezuela puts their zone on once again against Hugh Knapp. He makes a nice OI around to escape, but Canada can't find a continuation. All their receivers are quite deep. You can expect them to look for, there it is, the hole in the middle, and they move up the sideline. Nice. Venezuela hasn't found a way yet to contain those sweeping OIs. The wind is not very strong here at the field, so all of the high throws are connecting really well for Canada right now. That one squeaked in just by the seat of their pants, but the point counts. Canada goes up 5-3. Have another message here from the U23 Canadian team, Open. They would like to know what the dark spot is on the right-hand side of the field. Okay, while I reorient myself, that would be mud. That's my best guess. There are no clouds. We have another defense line out here for Canada. Matt Goodkey holding the disc, getting ready for the pull. Matt Goodkey hails from Ottawa, playing for the local club team there, Phoenix. Interesting fact, there is another Phoenix that competes in the UPA series, the women's team from, I think, North Carolina. I failed to mention that yesterday in the American-Canada battle. I was looking forward to the contest of the Phoenicians. Historical fact, that would be the Punic Wars. Another audacious put. McKenna has position. It floats over to the break side. Neither one of them closes. Still good defense by Taryn Chan from UBC. Taryn Chan, number 27, and number 28, Tammy Chu, both from UBC and teammates also on the Battle Cats, whom, if you're Canadian, you can expect to see at CUCs in Vancouver in a couple of weeks. Wow, number 11, John Edwards got up for that one. Not a pretty pass, but it always helps to have a forgiving receiver. Team Canada Open seems to be a font of questions today. They would like to know my opinion on the mixed line calling. It seems adequate, but it lacks a certain emphasis in pronouncing names, which, by the way, would really help me out. Canada keeps testing the deep. Number 64, Mustagimi from the rush, he keeps going out. He trades spots with Gagan Chada from Vancouver. He gets up, despite double coverage, and pulls it down once more for Canada. At 6-3. So on defense for Canada, from left to right, we have Krista Kotwa, Peter Yu, I think that's Josh Marin. I think that's Greer Hunt from Newfoundland. Then Eamon Pinto from the Toronto Rush. Jessica Bell and Aaron Busson. Big pull from Marin. Sitting in the back of the end zone, Venezuela catches and centers it, but the Canadian defense, the zone, is already in position. They've put a big wall up front. Peter Yu is taxiing the other, the reset defender, or reset Venezuelan offender. That takes a reset out of their arsenal, but they find a way out. Krista unfortunately lets number 26. He's not even on my roster, by the way. And she gets the disc. Venezuela is taking their time in the middle right now. Big shot once again. Canadian defense is closing in. It goes overhead. Greer Hunt takes it down. Aaron Busson and Krista Kotwa both tried to get the deep back in return. One Canadian after another, always threatening the deep. I thought that's a good idea to do against this team. Keep stretching out the space. Use as much of the field as possible. Makes all those throws open up. Awesome put. Marin all the way along for, I think, a 55-yard lefty OI. So, peculiar fact, the Team Canada mixed team, like many of the teams here, have decided to adopt their own peculiar aesthetic culture, and that is to say, the women have decided to shave one half of their heads. I can't explain why. I didn't realize that happened outside of gangs. It's looking very thuggish, mildly intimidating. If they come this way, I might flee. The guys are sporting speed lines. If they make them faster, I should be very much surprised.
Yeah.
Tushar has invited me up to the tower for halftime so I can get a better vantage point on the field. I apologize if I don't know enough of the names on the field, but frankly, I'm standing on a chair and it's not the world's best vantage point. Win Ambler, if you're listening still, I'm trying to name as many people as I possibly can. So again, we haven't seen any real calls of consequence in this game. Both teams have been playing a very technical, very finesse game so far. We also haven't seen any extended points or long turnovers.
Hey, Ocean, hey!
No, I had diarrhea and stomach cramps.
One of the difficult things at international events like this is with very many teams coming from all over the world and probably playing against each other for the first time in many years, there are very different understandings about how the rules should work and how sportsmanship should work. Some interesting collisions of ideas I've heard over the years. Just the other day, Austria mentioned to the Open team that we had a little bit more contact we would have liked, and I was utterly shocked that, well, I didn't see any contact. In another game, years back, I played against the Germans and discovered that they felt offended when we were trying to throw around side breaks and called fouls when our throws hit their arms, or when our hands hit their arms. Apparently there's a very different idea about whose responsibility it is to avoid contact. Some teams feel it's okay if there's contact in the lanes or contact on the marks, and others have completely opposite ideas. Feeling it out on the field, on the fly, can be very difficult. It's only after the game usually that teams arrive at an understanding of what they each saw that was so offensive. Venezuela takes another audacious attack to the end zone. Great defense. Number 64, Mustagimi, once again comes down, gets the disc into Canadian possession. Let's see if Canada can work this up flawlessly. Gagandeep Chadha, utility player for Team Canada, picks up the disc. Lots of pre-snap movement on behalf of the Canadians, and they get on the sideline right away. Nice sailing throw to number 74. Canada is doing an excellent job of using their women in this game to their advantage. Venezuelan women are going to have to either pin the Canadian women in on the short game, or they're going to have, the whole team is going to have to come up with a more sophisticated defense to trade off and try to contain the Canadians as they take those repeated long shots. Canada's on defense, looking to close out the first half. Andy Collins inquires from Colombia, what does pugnation even mean? Well, I don't know, Andy Collins. That is not a word. I assume that it would be the country state of a canine breed known as the pug. That exists purely in your imagination.
Pick your matchup.
I got PD. I got PD.
I got Audrey. J-Bell. Yeah.
Long bladey pull by Team Canada. Venezuela catches it on the first bounce and centers it. They immediately move into zone offense positions, anticipating the Canadian zone. They find the hole, looking for the continuation. Nice movement among the Venezuelan women. They've stepped up here in this offense for Venezuela. And it's a cross-field blade. Venezuela answers the call. Women rise up to the challenge and close that gap. It's now just 8-4 for Canada. Canada's going to put on their O-line. Canada puts down the gauntlet once more, even on offense. They've taken 4 women onto the field. That's Adriana Rowe, Erin Bussin. I think that's Tammy Chu, and Caitlin Lusty.
Unless we tell you different.
Venezuela takes a second to decide their roster on the offensive end. They bring in number 12, Acosta, onto the O-line. And it's a flick pull for the Venezuelans. Always impressed by a full field flick pull. It sits nicely, and the Venezuelans are already on defense when they reset it, when it gets centered in the middle of the Canadian end zone. It's a rabbit wall formation. Both Valderrama and Carrizo, Venezuela's best women, are on the field. Canada uses scoobers and lefty backhands, and Venezuela scoops it up. Answers with a quick huck all the way down. Brian Yu can't close the gap in time. Venezuela gets themselves up to 5 points now. Canada must be frustrated that they haven't been able to seal out this first half when they wanted. Expect they'll be loading this line. Canada loads up their starting O-line. Again with 4 women. They're still very much in control of this game. I don't think they're feeling very much pressure. But Venezuela did a good job of scoring those last 2 points.
No, Japan won 17-16 over Italy.
The wind picks up a bit and a gust keeps the pull down around the brick mark. Hugh Knapp moves a scoober across the field. Gets to Brian Yu. They reset. This is a handler-driven zone offense right now. There's still a lot of gaps, but Venezuela is pushing the handlers back. Crossfield hammer, and it's a continuation to Cindy Trong for PPF. That was a sneaky throw by Josh Marin, the snake, across the field, just past the female defender's hands. And a blade finishes up. Canada takes half, 9-5. I'm live again. Sweet. So we're starting off the second half here, powering up for the rest of this showcase game between Venezuela and Canada. Venezuela did a song and dance routine for the timeout there, if you were seeing it. Altogether, I think I've seen more singing and dancing this weekend than I've seen the last 8 years of Ultimate combined. Usually I would expect choreography to be a secondary objective of Ultimate Frisbee tournaments, but the entire women's division is practically competing with each other in the dancing department. Venezuela put on another zone, and Canada's still successfully dicing it and finding the arounds. They've yet to successfully contain Canada, but they are slowing them down, and maybe that will tire off Canada enough. There, all it takes is a mistake. Hugh Knapp rescues that one. Crossfield hammer, pinpoint to Lusty. She contemplates the hammer for the goal, but decides to take a more cautious approach. Easy dish. Oh, but it's not in yet. Venezuela traps Canada, but what should be a high-risk throw is actually an easy crossfield blade, and they score between 2 defenders. Even with the stiffening of the wind, Canada has been able to land those blades with high precision. That was number 25, Caitlin Lusty, once again with the score. Altogether, we've seen some really great names for Ultimate Frisbee players around here. I think that Lusty is a top-ranking contender for sure. Another favorite, Hunt. Yesterday, Team Canada was matched up against the USA. I saw some great ones like Eagle. I should have dropped up something more clever, like the Eagle has landed when she scored. Never think of those things at the time. That's why they call it l'esprit de l'escalier. Feel much better up here on the tower. I'm competing with the Seagulls for air supremacy. I've been meaning to say something to those snobby birds all day. It's another long wait between points. It's kind of hot out here today, and neither team is feeling the pressure to make it a very short game, so they're taking these languid breaks between throws. Another good pull. Venezuela centers. They're clogging in the middle of the zone. I don't know if they're up to something. Handler driven. They move to the sideline. Crossfield, Io backhand. Gagan Deep takes the position and easily knocks it down. But Canada now has to pick it up from this corner. They center it to Marin and start looking for options. It's a 2-on-1 between handlers right now. Canadian cutters are very deep. This is going to have to be handler driven for a moment. Nice around throw. Venezuela is containing the Canadian options, but one gets under. That was number 74, Nicole Vidal, finding space for the Canadians there. Pinto contemplates the huck deep, but looks it off, resets. Canada is still gaining yards, one step at a time. Opting for an uncharacteristically cautious approach in this game. Yesterday against Americans, there was a no-holds-bar, tooth and claw huck fest. Gagan tries to step up, but his huck fest is only about 3 feet off the ground, and it turns over. He's a teammate of mine. I hope he doesn't hear this commentary. Nice floaty pass, inside out, high release across the field. That was going to be a deadly huck from number 19, but it got knocked down early. Once again, it's as if the Canadians know when I'm criticizing their caution, and they turn up the heat. We've had a swift succession of turnovers on hucks here all of a sudden. We have an injury call. I can't see the player number, unfortunately. Andy Collins is tweeting up a storm from Colombia. He would like to know what the 7 dark patches are beside the players. Those are shadows. We can discuss umbra and penumbra later on. He also asked that I talk to you. Collins, you're not a very good conversationalist, even over Twitter. Venezuela turns it over deep. Gagan picks it up. He has 2 Canadian options right away. He floats it over to Terran Chan. Terran Chan returns it to Pinto. Pinto loads it up but decides not to huck it through the double coverage. Nicole comes under on the far side, passes it to Gagan. Gagan takes the deep shot. Passes over Terran Chan, but Matt Goodkey picks it up. Canada goes up 11-5. We're seeing a surprising amount of zone defense in this game so far. I think from both teams. I don't know whether they've considered a practice round in their defensive structures, but there's not really that much wind. That's why we've seen so many easy throws going over the top and around, including one inside-out high-release backhand from the Venezuelans. A variety of throws have been able to break them. It's really just been a succession of mistakes, hucking turnovers. It hasn't been this has not been a defensive-dominated game. It's been largely an error-dominated game. Acosta is back handling for the Venezuelans. A very sassy OI. Venezuela is passing it up and down on the sideline within inches of the boundary, and it's a very small miscue that leads to the turnover. Peter Yu hucks it up into space, praying that number 13 gets it. He gets a hand on it, but unfortunately Ashton Pearson from Victoria can't complete the snag. Venezuela gains a lot of yards quickly on the side, but it's a Blady turnover to the was that Greer Hunt? Anyways, oh, and it's a travel call. Canada has to bring the disc back to the goal line. But there are 3 Canadians still open on the unders. The Venezuelan defenders might not be able to close the gap in time to pin the Canadians down. Peter Yu collects the disc. Krista Cotwell with the disc now on the sideline. Makes a clean exit, and it's around to the other side of the field to Peter Yu. Mostagimi finds Peter Yu in the end zone. Nice inside out click for the goal. Venezuela's had a bit of a drought in points here. They're going to have to make another adjustment. They were able to close the gap on Canada earlier, but they have to find a new way to exert pressure. The zone hasn't been very successful in doing it. Oftentimes what you have to do is throw an unfamiliar look, something the Canadians aren't expecting. Make them make a mental mistake at this point. Canada floats a long pull, but it drifts out of bounds. I think this is the first bad pull of the game. Actually, those are pretty good stats so far. Let's see if Venezuela will run a set play. Canada is taking up zone positions.
Pinto's gonna go. Pinto's gonna go. JJ, you know where it's coming. You know where it's coming.
gutsy Blady Scuba over to the side. But Venezuela is still taking very high-risk throws to move themselves out of these situations. Yet again, that's going to start annoying the defenders. You gotta love the fearless Venezuelan style. Perfect. Venezuela answers. They get their 6th point of the game. Four ladies are once again taking to the offense for Canada. They're going to keep running that line, throwing the challenge down, trying to tire out the Venezuelan ladies on the other side of the field. Canada's women have been doing a very good job of striking for them. I think Andy Collins would be disappointed to know it's all smiles on the field right now. Not enough frowning and aggression. Venezuela lands the pull in. The Canadian lady cutters all move deep. It's an all-male handler core right now. Brian Yu tries to make space. Caitlin Lusty moves the disc to Brian Yu, and he pumps it deep. Almost gets it into the hands of Cindy Trong, but the edge isn't quite right. She can't read it. It goes over her head before she can get a hand on it. Still good movement by the Canadians there. Hugh Knapp from Vancouver goes to put on the mark. Venezuela sets up with a concentrated horizontal stack. They start movement right away. Number 14, Brzezinski from Venezuela comes under, but the throw floats too high and it gets intercepted. Josh Marin now with the disc. Moves it around. Nice score. It's not easy to make out the jersey numbers from up here, the gold on burgundy background, but as far as I can tell, Venezuela has begun sitting their first string players at this point. I think they're looking to take the game as an educational experience now, testing out their systems. This is incidentally a power pool game, so there are lots more contests in the future for Venezuela they're going to have to prepare for. When you perceive a game as being out of reach, well, sometimes you have to rest your starters and start planning for the future. Canada has been rolling lines so far, playing familiar combinations of players with each other. I don't know if it follows the pod system as used by a TC women's team at this tournament, or more notably the Capitals in the North American circuit. But you see certain combinations very frequently paired up with each other here on the Canadian line. Venezuela draws the Canadian zone off to one side. They try to get into the middle, but there's no continuation on the right. They find the middle again, and they're using a very plinko offense, dicing through the Canadian zone. Moving across, they try to find the continuation. They don't see it in time. They still use the middle. Blady throw, and it's picked up. Venezuela takes their 7th point of the game. The receiver there was female all-star from Venezuela, number 4, Carrizo. This game is moving at a very high pace. The points have been fairly short, but then again, the breaks between them have been long. It's only been 1 hour, 10 minutes, and the score is already 13-7. Both teams largely relying on Hucks to score. I think we've only seen 2, maybe 3 end zone offenses the entire time. Canada appears to use a vertical stack end zone offense, swinging the disc from side to side. I don't know if we've seen the Venezuelan end zone offense yet. They much prefer to try pinpoint blades into the end zone for their scores. Big floaty pull for the Venezuelans. It comes down around the brick mark. Canadian cutters all move deep. There are only 2 handlers back, but there's no mark on. It was a side stack for Canada. They flood. Brian Yu sneaks under. It was a hidden play to the front of the stack. A launch, big huck, number 16 to number 4, and it's a goal. Adriana Rowe to Cindy Trong. That would be the PPF connection. Darcy Drummond, if you're watching, you'd be proud of your ducklings. Once again, what exactly PPF stands for? Supposedly it's a well-guarded secret. I like to think it stands for Pretty Pink Flowers. Okay, pink is not my favorite color. I read a study once saying that it could, after prolonged exposure, cause neuromuscular weakness. I don't think it was a very good scientific study. But I stand by my rational assertions with pride. Looks like Canada's coordinating another zone. It might be a different variety. I saw an assortment of hand signals flashed around. They look like goat horns. Let's see what exotic zone this is. It looked like it was a sucker zone. It looked like the 22-21 inspired from the Japanese. That is 2 front pillars 5 yards away from the thrower, 2 secondaries flanking on the sides. It's designed to do exactly that, which was solicit a huck, but the coverage was there and it was a quick D. Canada, on the other hand, didn't need any defense to turn that one over. It was a rapid huck to no one in particular. Venezuela makes a daring assault right in front of the Canadian defense, fires the rifle shot into the side, and it's another point for Venezuela. 14-8, Canada leads. Brzezinski sinks another point for the Venezuelans here. Since yesterday's experience, I hesitate to make predictions on what the game will do since they seem so determined to do exactly the opposite. But I'm going to guess that Canada is coming down with the zone this point. Statistically, zone seems to be the favored defense of the day. If you were paying attention yesterday, that means they're almost certainly playing man. Of course, since Venezuela is on defense, that means once again I'm wrong. Venezuela makes the pull. Blady comes down around the brick mark. Canada has to duck the pull there. They center it. Swing it around to Brian Yu. Female cutters strike long, and she takes the shot. Beautiful. Sinks it perfectly on Caitlin Lusty. Cindy Trong gets another assist for this game. She's proud of that one. She's patting Cindy Trong on the back there because I think that Cindy was supposed to be the intended receiver. Or was that Tammy Chu? Regardless. Rumi Tapar and Kevin Grew, stars from yesterday's game against the U.S., are enjoying a sit in the shade, where they've been here the entire time. Apparently they can hear the live stream because they're looking at me. Again, that might explain why the Canadians keep doing the opposite of everything I say. Venezuela centers the disc. They flood stack one side and they're isolating a female cutter. She's trying to find space, but Krista Cott was on her. It's going to be a risky shot over the top. And there's the risky shot. Crossfield hammer. And Venezuela gets 2 shots at it. Calls a foul on the second attempt. Jarrett Marin is contesting the reenactment. I'm assuming that was contested. Based on the body language, I think the answer was, whatever, let's send it back. Well, that was interesting. That was a pick call on a reset and a quick turnover to the space where the intended dump was going to go. The pick rule in whiff diff, of course, has no continuation. The disc comes back regardless. Venezuela tries to babysit, But regardless, the thrower is looking for that crossfield hammer. It's pretty, but it's intercepted by the defense once again. Quick reset to John Edwards. John's looking deep. Krista Cotwell managed to pull 3 defenders back with her. Peter Yu trips, can't get the disc. Gagandeep tries to jog onto it. And there's that Blady Huck for the score. The signature offense of the Venezuelan team, and they get themselves 9 points now on the board. Canada is well represented in the stands right now, if you can hear the cheering. The cheer of the day appears to be Canada A. Just so you know, that's the interjection of choice around here. The wind has shifted a little. It's now become a crosswind. I think we'll continue to see a lot of zones. But a nice shift in the wind can cause some confusion of the throwers. We might see a few more turnovers in this last quarter of the game. One of the things that's nice about this particular stadium at this tournament is that it's relatively unencumbered by any large buildings. Lots of stadiums tend to inflict very strange swirling winds on the unsuspecting ultimate players. I've been in stadia before, like in Japan, in Victoria, even at UBC Thunderbird Stadium, where the stadium can cause discs to fly through 3 different wind directions on its way to a target. Stall 9 pass, slashing across to the front of the end zone. Canada takes their 16th point. They're looking to seal this game now. Canada sets up their D-line. In case you didn't know, Canada is coached by Hadia Rodrigue, Taylor Martin, and John Hayduke, representing the Capitals, GOAT, and Furious George or Nighthawks, respectively. A lot of experience in that coaching staff. Probably not the combined 54 years of Venezuela, but pretty good nonetheless. Venezuela moved the disc from side to side pretty well so far. They're not giving up. A lot of aggression in this cutting. There's the crossfield hammer once again. Somehow on the 3rd try, Venezuela sticks the catch as the hammer comes down on top of them. Not ready to give up yet. Venezuela gets themselves 10 points on the board. The D-line has their heads down for Canada, wondering how the heck did we fail to stop that? Once again, those daring throws can pay off big time. We've got nothing to lose. Why not throw that crossfield hammer? Canada puts their 4 women O-line back on,
I see Ireland, Australia.
supplemented by Brian Yu, Hugh Knapp, and Josh Marin. Canada goes into a split stack formation. Somehow Cindy Trong got the disc unmarked there. The Canadian women are moving it up admirably well. They center it. They're now in striking distance of a goal. They're not in formation yet, though. They're still moving side to side. A Venezuelan player is down. Pick call. That was a bold attempt. Dicey throw by Brian Yu, skids across the grass, giving the disc back to Venezuela and another chance for an 11th point. The Venezuelan offense is isolating 2 cutters. They're like 5 handlers back. Nice catch. They're within 10 yards of the end zone now, but there's no help from number 9, who's not on my roster. Venezuela centers it. We're going to see their end zone play, which is, of course, a Blady huck to the back of the end zone. Nicely done, Venezuela. They get their 11th point, closing the gap on Canada. It's the same O-line again for Canada, trying to make good on their previous mistake. Venezuela matches across. I think we'll be seeing a man-to-man defense this point. Oh, and it pops up. Great D by Venezuela. Oh, there's a foul call. Medina respectfully disagrees. Marin is getting a lot of finger wagging. Does his best to reenact to impress, but Medina doesn't look like he's taking it. Soliciting opinions from the other players. Josh Marin has indicated with a violent shoulder movement that he was indeed fouled. It's contested and it goes back to Brian Yu. Another missed throw by Canada. Cindy Trong sees the opportunity to huck to Hugh Knapp, but the release doesn't come out quite right. It falls flat on the sideline. Venezuela cheerfully picks it up. No fear here. Long bomb straight out, but Hugh Knapp regains it for Team Canada. Deep strike, number 0, Medina for Venezuela, just couldn't get position. It came down on top of Hugh Knapp before he had a shot at it. Across the field to Cindy Trong. Finds the middle. Adriana Rowe contemplates her options, gets it to Josh Marin. There's an injury on the play. A layout bid with a collision into, I think, his own teammate's shins. That's number 0, Medina, a star receiver for Venezuela. I hope he's okay. He gets up and he's going to finish the point. Okay, my predictions have, as Tushar points out, fallen flat in the past, but I'm confident that Medina is going to finish this point. Lusty to Hugh Knapp. Canada gets into their vertical stack. Hugh makes a nice OI around for the score. That's 17 points for Canada, 17-11, and Canada takes it in this last power pool matchup. Any closing opinions, Tushar? Tushar admits to having no opinions. That's now been broadcast on the internet, and it's therefore irrevocably true. So, I'll be signing off now. This is Alex Davis, speaking on behalf of IamUltimate.com here at the U23 World Championships in Toronto. I don't know if I'll be seeing you again in the future, but if so, you'll recognize me by what Twitter calls my Ottawa Valley accent. Have a good evening. See you later.